Good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hope you are all well. I really, really do. Lovely bank holiday Monday. And what a weekend. The Premier League football hasn't even finished. There's still two more games to come this evening, including Wolves and Everton and the like playing. But what a weekend of football we had. Many trials, many tribulations, shock results, important wins for some clubs, fallout, collapses. But Jose Mourinho stealing the headlines again with his attacking of players in public, blaming others for his mistakes, never taking ownership, playing the victim. And he has become as corrosive, as bitter, and as lost at Tottenham as we saw him at Real Madrid in the end, at Chelsea, and of course at Manchester United. And the way he's behaving is just so reminiscent of his final moments, so reminiscent of the end of the road at those football clubs. And yesterday we saw, which will again go down and be a famous Jose Mourinho quote, the same coach, different players, when he was being questioned about his team's inability to hold on to leads. His weird explanation for why Toby Alderweireld was missing. In fact, when I say weird, his lie, claiming the player returned back to training too late from international duty, referred to it as being ill-disciplined, said he didn't get back until late on the Thursday, when in fact it's been confirmed by sources close to the club and by the Alderweireld camp that he was back at training mid-afternoon on the Wednesday. So there are so many elements here with Jose. We know that he will be sacked if he doesn't make the top four. We know this to be true. This has been well reported on by credible journalists, very, very close to Tottenham Football Club. But my question is, does he actually want to make the top four? Does he actually want to stay on? Because every single piece of behavior from Jose Mourinho, we've seen it before. It's like he's trying to engineer and move away. And here's just some selective headlines I went for. You see in the bottom right, Jose Mourinho accuses Real Madrid players of treason. We go to the one in the middle. It's Jose Mourinho blames loss at Brighton on Man United bit part players. Players who replaced others didn't perform, as if to suggest they did it on purpose. Top left, Jose Mourinho says Chelsea players betrayed him in defeat at Leicester. There is a pattern and there is a theme. Slamming Toby in the bottom left for being ill-disciplined and not returning to training on time. We all remember when he slammed Anthony Martial for staying too long at his child's birth, but pretending that he had no idea that the player was going to go, almost suggesting he had no idea that Anthony Martial was about to have a baby. We remember the very famous comments about Luke Shaw using his body with my brain. Jose Mourinho, when under pressure, when he's looking for a way out, continually and consistently attacks these players in public, berates them in public, relinquishes himself of all blame, and destroys any kind of harmony that remains within the dressing rooms that he sits in. And we're seeing that pattern again now. And for me, he's lost control as an individual again. He's losing that dressing room. He brutally attacked his players after the defeat yesterday. No doubt about it at all in my mind. How long can this go on at Tottenham? Tottenham are a club. They may not have a history of winning all the major trophies on a regular basis, but they do have a history of being a top club in the UK, a top club respected around the world. Toxic Mourinho is well in force. Some reports came out yesterday that even the likes of Lloris and Harry Kane have stood by him, that have tried to guide the team and keep the dressing room harmonious, are losing patience with him. The reports this morning are telling us that the players are absolutely exasperated and frustrated at the lies about Toby Alderweireld, blaming him for being ill-disciplined when Jose Mourinho's comments were not even true. And of course, not taking any accountability for his team throwing away another lead. 11 points dropped in the last 10 minutes of games this season by Tottenham. Those 11 points would put them in second, maybe? Or at least in a very secure position within the top four. And Jose has just become a very bitter old man when it comes to accepting blame. But I want your views and I want your opinions on this. I want to know what you're thinking and what you're feeling in relation to Jose Mourinho. Are his claims justified in any way, shape, or form, in your opinions? I want to know now. I want your opinions. Low Fat here says, agree, Terry. Great points. The problem I have with it, and I appreciate your comment, buddy, is there's nothing Jose's doing now that we haven't seen before in an abundance. This is strange. The writing's on the wall at Tottenham. It's a matter of if and not when. He will be sacked. And I believe he's looking to engineer it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jose Mourinho throw in a really mad formation or team selection for the Carabao Cup final. I wouldn't. Like starting Phil Jones in an FA Cup final. Something wrong with him. He's lost it. He has lost his composure. He's lost his composure. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Harry Kane, 19 goals, 30. Yeah, Harry Kane's having a barnstorming season. There is no doubt about it. That's because he's a top-class player. And just because Jose's toxic and things are going wrong at Tottenham, it doesn't mean individuals cannot have very good seasons. People performed regularly under Jose Mourinho at Real Madrid, at Chelsea, and at Manchester United. But you're never going to win the major honours. And that's what Jose... This is what you have to remember about Tottenham in this situation. Cut through all the BS. Jose was brought to the club to win the major trophies. That's it. Point blank. Simple. No messing. He's never going to win them behaving like this. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. A Low Fat here says, I respect Jose. He's won a lot, but these days he's not doing great things wherever he goes. And you know what? It isn't even about doing great things. I hear your point. It's just his behavior. I still think his tactics can work. And we saw early on in the season when Jose was happy, when the squad were happy, they were winning. They have a few iffy results. And instead of saying, instead of the we, it's never the we with Jose. It's always them and I, them and I, them and I. The players, me, I'm great. I don't even think that attitude would have worked particularly well when he was in his pomp, when he was at the very top of his game. It's just grotesque. It really is. It's ugly, grotesque, bitter. He's like that old man in the pub. Do you know what I mean? Everyone just, they put up with him because he's been drinking in there for years, but he's become a grumpy old sod that just has no control over his behavior anymore. And it stinks. It really does stink. Jay here says, Jose Mourinho needs to take responsibility and adapt towards today's football if Spurs can survive from this season's horrific big game moments. Comment here says, I think Jose should focus on international football for a few years. He should I don't think he should be a football manager anymore. I really mean that. I just don't think maybe international would work because generally speaking, the players there are trying to win for their country. There's national pride above everything else. But even then, you have to treat people well. There are times where you have to be assertive. There are times where you have to be autocratic within leadership. That has to happen. There are times where you have to make difficult decisions. There are times when you are going to upset, annoy, and frustrate people. There are going to be times where you fall out with individuals. That's going to happen. That's normal in life. Nobody goes through work, business, sport, education without having those moments. But to become truly, what Jose will do is he won't look to find resolution with these players. He'll fall out with, he falls out with me, but then he won't talk to any of my friends either, just because they're my friends. And this is the thing with me. I can fall out with someone, still remain civil towards them, and still have a great relationship with people they're close with, because especially in a professional capacity, it's just toxic beyond belief. And I am actually staggered at what he did yesterday, if I'm being brutally honest with everybody. Make sure you're hitting that like button this morning. We're going to start going to the calls very, very soon. We are going to share the link for this stream on our Discord server as well. Just to quote exactly what he said yesterday, just for full transparency. Article here on the BBC says, Tottenham leading and then dropping points has become a bit of a habit this season, but according to Jose Mourinho, it's not his fault. He says the 58-year-old has earned a reputation as a master tactician and defensive-minded coach, but his Spurs side now, wow, so it's 11 points in the last 10 minutes, but they've lost 15 points from winning positions this campaign. Spurs, just add 15 points onto where you are now, different season. Spurs fell behind at Newcastle and then pulled the way back, blah, blah, blah. So who is to blame for letting it slip? This is Jose's words. Same coach, different players, was Jose Mourinho's response to BBC 5 Live reporter Juliet Farrington pointed out the teams here. I want to find his actual quote here. Asked if he had more work to do with Spurs players, Jose said, I don't think so. We work well, we work hard, but there are mistakes, which I probably shouldn't even call mistakes because they are related to the qualities that players have. Imagine that. Now, I said this before. Man United fans are in this weird sort of paradox at the moment that they want Ollie to be brutal and attack players and not be a yes man. I reject that notion wholeheartedly, categorically, point blank. No if, buts, or maybes. It's an absolute. Outing your players publicly in this way is toxic, unprofessional, and overtly unacceptable. Imagine that. I don't even want to call the mistakes because my players are trash. That's what he said. He didn't use the word trash, but that's what he's telling us. He is literally out rubbish. That's for fans to do, for pundits to do. The manager is meant to protect his players. The manager is meant to protect his players as best he can. And Jose has this nasty habit of continually attacking him. And managers have done it before, by the way. There have been times where the greatest have criticized players publicly, but not with the frequency, bitterness, and ferocity that Jose Mourinho does. That quote there is staggering to me. Simon says, Jose should just retire because he is done in British and European football. Many would agree with you with that. No doubt. Listen, many would agree. Kane has a big decision to make in the summer. He has one more big move to make if he wants to actually win some trophies. He can't retire without winning any silverware. Yeah, it would be devastating for a player like him to do that. It really, really would. We're going to go to the calls now. Alex, KJ, both backstage. Make sure like buttons are being hit right now. Let's get this past 100 likes as it stands right now. Let's bring them on board. I want to know what they've got to say. Morning, gentlemen. Alex is here with us first. I mean, it's staggering stuff that Jose Mourinho said yesterday, really digging into the Tottenham players, dragging your club's name through the mud again. What's your thoughts, mate?
Can I just answer your question that you asked me yesterday? You said to me, do you think Jose is going to improve this team? I should have just said no to you completely because I just don't believe in him at all. I mean, I don't normally go and talk about personal, but personally, I'm really sorry to, my thoughts and prayers with Claude's family at the moment. But I brought up Claude is because he mentioned something, some of the people that knew him about him missing being at the games. And that's one thing that I'm missing at the moment because, my best moments has been going to the games at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And, actually watch it on TV now and with Jose Mourinho, I'm just losing my passion now completely. I don't really identify with the team anymore. I was watching back at some of the matches under Poch and early Poch as well. And you could see the togetherness in the team. You could see the triangles in the team. You could see there was movement in the team. You could see the defence were all talking to each other and they're all aligned. And you can see it's a team. At the moment, you look at it now, it's just like it's just all jaded. And I'm not saying that sacking Jose is going to, sort everything out. There still needs to be certain players that need to be moved on. But I'm at a loss at the moment what to do. And the replacements that you've said before, we have to wait and see whether they're going to be good enough. Because when Pochettino came in, I admit I didn't really want him. I wanted the ball, Frank de Boer, and look what happened there. So you know, you don't know. You don't know. It's a risk whether if you sack him or not. But I think at the moment it looks like it's just there's no other thing to do really. Just back sacking, and that's it.
Alex, you're a broken man. You're a broken man. And you know what that is? I understand, my brother. Don't worry. I know, I hear the pain in your voice. I don't know where it comes from. Because we have been there, Terry and I. United fans and I have all been there. This man called Jose, aka Jose Bin Laden, doing up what he does best, fam. The world's highest paid football terrorist. That's what he is. He's doing up fraudulence. He's doing up fraudulence now. All he does is go around clubs, show them his CV. Look at all the trophies I win. I am a winner. You know, that's all he does. He goes there. He does his little thing. Get to play some okay football at the start. Give you guys hope. And then snatch it away from you at the end while he gets sacked and he bags his millions. He's doing a fraudulence in football. He's now a football fraud. That's what he does.
It is, and it's and Anita here says in the comments, and Anita is bang on. Good morning, by the way, Queen. On the show tomorrow night, but tonight at 5 and tomorrow at 5, we're doing big Champions League preview shows. So make sure you're all tuning into the Football Terrace. Anita back in action here, and it's right. He's doing his rubbish again, and if you're a Real Madrid fan, if you're a Chelsea fan, if you're a Man United fan, there's nothing happening now that you haven't seen before. And that's why I get frustrated. Like, that's why it's frustrating when I see people defending him, because there's just so many correlations to what he did to us, what he did to Real Madrid, what he did to Tottenham, the way he attacks individuals, because he knows what's coming. He'll end up being sacked. He'll take his compensation and he'll move on. And that's why Daniel Levy here is the individual that Spurs need to look at the most. His decision to go for this man. It was criticized at the beginning. And look, there have been a few moments where oh, is the old Jose Mourinho going to click into action? But what's come to fruition very, very quickly, as soon as the pressure gets on top, as soon as there's criticism of him, Jose is broken. Jose Mourinho is mentally broken, and he hasn't. It's like if you jump from relationship to relationship and never let the scars of a bad breakup heal, you'll damage all those new relationships. Jose never got over what Real Madrid did to him in his eyes. He never got over that. And he becomes paranoid, he becomes frustrated, he becomes angry and bitter and lashes out everywhere he goes. And Tottenham have made a massive mistake, but they can rectify this. Tottenham can really rectify this because they've still got the squad that was playing. It's not been that long under Jose Mourinho. They go and get a more progressive, younger, better manager in the modern day game in. You've still got really good. I was looking at your team yesterday. At points yesterday, there's Lo Celso on the pitch, very good footballer. Ndombele on the pitch, huge potential, very good footballer. Son, Kane, Bale. Lucas Moura is not a dead baller. The geezer scored a hat-trick in a Champions League semi-final. You've got to be good to do that. Now, I'm not saying you have the best attacking lineup and the most creative players in the world, but people talk about Spurs' squad like it's absolute trash. It really isn't. It really, really isn't. And Jose's a problem here. If they get it right this summer, yes, it's going to cost money. Yes, it's going to cost money to get rid of him. Yes, it's going to cost money to bring in a better manager. But you have to do it, because what's the alternative? This for another 18 months? It would be a madness. We're going to bring some more callers into the show now as well. Terry is looking at names. I don't know what you mean. Oh, you're looking at names. Bale is finished. Listen, but Bale is past his best, but it's not like he isn't a good footballer. Like he could, trust me, a better manager would get more out of him. There's no doubt about it whatsoever, in my opinion. Let's go to some more calls. Abs is with us here. Abs, morning, mate. What you saying?
Morning, guys. Happy Easter Monday.
Yes, you too, my friend. You too.
Yeah, so obviously KJ and you guys, us Man United fans, know that Jose Mourinho, he's finished. Like you said, he's been finished since Real Madrid. And what you said, Terry, I wanted to sort of build on. When you actually look at that Tottenham squad, actually really look at it, Jose Mourinho should have been sacked a couple of months ago, let alone end of the season. Like, if you look at Sancho, the centre back, what's the Colombian centre back's name, Alex?
Sanchez.
Sanchez. If you look at Sanchez at Ajax, I actually rated him higher than I rated De Ligt. He looks like a poor version of Bailly now. He just looks really bad. I was like, he's gone backwards. Dele Alli should be in the squad, in the starting 11. If you look at Tottenham's attacking force, like for me, Lucas Moura is still a top-end right winger. Harry Song is the only left winger in the Premier League I'll take over Rashford. Kane is second best striker in world football. Lo Celso, still quality. Ndobole, still quality. Holbrook, still quality. And the fact is Tottenham look bad. For me, Jose needs to go. And the other thing as well is that we're now in a generation where you've got more Pogba's, Neymars, where, you know, they're a bit more sensitive than you have like a John Terry and those things. You can sort of bollock them and they take it on the chest. Nowadays, you need to be a better people manager, and Jose just isn't that, and he will never be that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can disagree with you. And the thing with Spurs is that the valuation of their squad is still so high. It's still north of £780 million in a COVID impacted market. They have very good players. Do they have players good enough to topple Man City to win the Champions League front to back right now? No. But the way that it's sort of spoken about sometimes, like it's a bang average squad. I'm like, look what West Ham are doing. You know, West Ham are not playing dissimilar football to Jose's style, but the West Ham players are playing for David Moyes.
Yeah,
they're playing for him, so it is working. And I think that that's something that needs to, you know, I don't even think Leicester have exponentially better players than Tottenham. Like in terms of they're light years in front. They've got a number of players that are, but it's not like, for me, I just don't look at it and go, wow, that is a world-class squad and that is a bang average squad. It's a lot closer than people try and make out. And Jose is the one that's accountable on that for me. There's no doubt about it. KJ,
Terry,
go on, Abs.
Oh, so to build on your point, in that Leicester's team, like personally, Leicester's back four and Ndidi gets into the Tottenham squad. Except for that, no one else gets into the Tottenham squad going forward, like midfield and attacking wise. Not even Vardy, which is the crazy thing.
Well, yeah, because Harry Kane's better than Vardy. Like Harvey Barnes has had a good year, but I'd pick Son over Harvey Barnes. You know, or Brighton, the players on the right. Yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. And I even think some of the players at Tottenham defensively, as you mentioned with Davinson Sanchez, that lad was so talented and was tipped to go on and do things. It just hasn't quite worked. Listen, I mean, some of his decisions. I mean, look how good Matt Doherty was at Wolves, and how bang average he looks under Jose Mourinho. It's mad. And what's really telling is Højbjerg was being touted as this, what a signing. Up until like December, a lot of people had him down as a signing of the season. Last month, he has looked, honestly, he's made Scott McTominay look like Steven Gerrard, like just losing the ball, not making tackles, passing's been off. Just everybody's getting backwards. We've got Alan coming on the show with us now as well. Alan, morning, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, and that is perfect, mate. Sound quality, bang on, top man.
It's good. Yeah, thanks for having me back on. Same again from Mourinho. As soon as something goes wrong, digging out the players, it's everyone else's fault apart from his. We've seen it at other teams now. I've said before, I wanted him to win stuff at Spurs. I thought he was the man to do it. I said the only problem that could go wrong with Mourinho is his toxic nature, what he does to players, airing them out in front of people, and he's done it again. For me, he has to go. I don't think he'll go before the end of the season, but if Levy keeps him in for another season, regardless of where he finishes, like there's apparently reports, then Levy needs to go as well, because it can't stop at Mourinho. If this continues, you have to look higher. And for me, Levy's on borrowed time as well, but they won't get rid of him.
Do you think Jose's trying to get himself sacked? Do you think that's what this outburst is about? It's just, let me become as toxic as possible. They'll get rid of me and I'll be back on Sky Sports by November. I
do, because if you look back at when things were going well, like for against Man City when we won 2-0 and Arsenal when we won 2-0, when everything was going fine, there was none of this. As soon as things started going wrong and we kept declining, and he started feeling the pressure, that's when all this negative, the Sergio Aurier business and the Dele Alli business and the Bale business, and then it's just continued from there. He seems to be reacting to situations rather than picking his team, his best team. I don't think he knows that, because everyone was playing for him. It started going wrong, and then it had to be for Bale to show bits of class for him to then include the front four like we wanted. That went well because we were playing no offense, lesser opposition, and we could beat them. As soon as it got tough against Arsenal, we played attacking. He kept the defence back. We were wide open. Arsenal overrun the midfield, and they beat us. Zagreb, I don't want to talk about it. That's just embarrassing. But then when that's happened, he's then reacted again to try and change things, and it doesn't seem like a manager in control of the situation. I think it's got the best of him, and it's saying something that a manager of his class previous can allow, this type of stuff to happen on a continual basis.
Yeah, I hear that. Alex said earlier that he and I want to make sure I quote you right, Alex, that he's lost faith and doesn't identify with the way the club plays or the way the club's even behaving at the moment. Do you feel the same as a Spurs fan?
No, I think as a manager, I know obviously he's won things at previous clubs, but that doesn't concern me. I want to know what he does at Spurs. You, as a manager, I think to be a successful manager, you have to adapt to the club's way of running things and the club's way of thinking as well. So for me, I agree with Alex. Looking back on it now, the type of football he plays doesn't fit well with how we were as a club, the type of players we've got, but that's who Levy chose. And at the beginning, it looked at parts where it could work, but it just hasn't. So we need to get to the end of the season, cut our losses, and go again.
Terry?
Yeah, go on, Alex.
Can I just say something? Because the thing that frustrates me, and this is what frustrated me, and nothing against Eleanor, but she said this a few times, and I've heard this a few times as well, is that we brought Jose in just as a short-term thing and just to get a trophy over the line. And I just think that's just absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just like you're saying to me, especially with the whole thing with the release clause of 35 million, you're saying to me you're just bringing in somebody in just to get a trophy over the line is is a good strategy. It's not a good strategy. It's a terrible strategy.
She's
absolutely
not saying that.
An awful strategy.
Hang on. Yeah,
it depends though. It depends on where you are as a club. A club like Manchester United, just bringing in someone in just to get a trophy over the line and that's it is a terrible strategy because we have a history and we used to have an ambition of long-term success. But for Tottenham, it's not a terrible strategy because you man don't even win trophies.
KJ. How can you say that?
How can I say that? Because your club do not win trophies in the first place. What is a catalyst for that? Winning just a trophy. You tried to bring in the guy renowned for doing that, and it hasn't worked.
Can I just argue with that then? Why is it historically, yeah? Has that ever worked with Tottenham? When we've done that before, when we've had it and got rid of a manager, like for instance, when we got Martignol, we had Martignol, we just sacked him at half time and got Ramos in, and then we won a cup then. And then look at the next season. It just completely
Alex. So
it's just I'm just sorry, but it's never worked.
What has worked for Spurs? Nothing, because you've got no trophies.
Let me just interject for a second. Two things here. Eleanor never said it was a good strategy. She said it is what the strategy is.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying. Yeah,
just to clarify for the view, Eleanor has been dead against that strategy. She thought it was wrong because she didn't feel there was any long-termism in it and she didn't want that. So that's her point of view. I agree with KJ. On paper, it's a good strategy. I think Daniel Levy's thoughts were, this big stadium, one of the most valuable squads in Europe, we play great football, but we have no trophies. And I think he went for a short-term fix to try and bring a few trophies in over the line and then go back to the new Poch, whoever that person is going to be, someone that's going to really captivate and make people feel like you, Alex, feel identified to the club. But his experiment has failed and it's failing miserably to a point where some of your star players are now considering leaving. And that, for me, beyond Jose being a problem, that's what needs to be focused on because, a gamble was made. And that's the issue with gamble. He put a lot of money on red and it looks like the little white ball, it's landed in black. And at the end of the day, Daniel Levy, for me, is the most accountable person. And I'll keep that energy because I talk about my club in that same way. You know what I mean? I talk about my club in that same way. Think about the players that have been signed, the kind of deals that you've done. The Vinicius deal. This guy scored 24 goals last season, 13 assists, barely used. You signed Jedson Fernandez, one of the most touted and talented young players in the world, who needed the deal in itself. Hindsight is stupid. He needed a progressive manager that likes to develop youth to put an arm around him and bring him through. And he's barely featured. Maybe he's never going to be good enough, but for me, he wasn't the right signing. Bergwijn, another highly touted, like when they signed him, the excitement in the Spurs sort of world was, wow, everyone's reading about Bergwijn. Lots of clubs linked with him. Loads of rival clubs were jealous that you got him. Not being used, not been developed by Jose Mourinho. It's like you're behaving like you've still got a Poch-esque manager running the team, but you've got a Jose Mourinho in place. So it's like you haven't adapted your whole club ethos to make Jose successful. And that's just the recipe for disaster. And where it's embarrassing from Daniel Levy's point of view is that the history, it isn't even like private history you have to do a great deal of due diligence on. It's public knowledge that if you don't give Jose exactly what he wants, the players that he needs, and enable him to operate in his exactly the way he wants to, this toxicity comes out. It's just been there for nearly a decade. This all started at the latter end of 2012 with Real Madrid. It's a decade of Jose's behaviour being
Terry,
like this.
can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question though? Because I hear from Tottenham fans, okay, that he's won everything. He's won everything. So you can't question him. Yeah, he's won everything though. You can't. It's the players. Because they threw him under the bus. He threw Pochettino under the bus, so they've thrown Mourinho under the bus. So this is some of the Tottenham fans I've heard on other streams. You see what I'm saying?
Alex, sorry, to respond to what you said with regarding the Daniel Levy thing. The thing is, in the last 7 to 8 years, Tottenham have gone into that bracket of a top 4, top 6 club, and if you're a top 4, top 6 club, you are expected to win trophies. Fairly or unfairly, that is what it is. So even the Pochettino...
I don't agree with that.
No, you cannot...
I don't agree with that.
Okay,
the reason... know where you're coming from, mate.
Okay, you say that. So, for example...
I honestly do not agree with that.
Alex, can I finish? So let's say 15 years ago, was Tottenham expected to win a trophy, yes or no?
No, but you're just completely wrong.
Can I finish? Let us say, answer my questions, then you can sort of respond to it.
What I'm saying is, but that was a completely different team then.
No,
it was a completely different team. I can't remember the team that was actually there, but the players that were there were not quality enough to do what they're doing now. That's the reason why we're at the point that we're at now.
Alex, it was a yes or no question. Alex, it was a yes or no question. You don't need to do a monologue.
What do you mean yes or no question? What I'm saying is, Alex, answer the question again then.
Alex, this is what I'm trying to say to you. Since Tottenham have gone into that bracket of a top 4, top 6 club in the last 10 years, like other top 4 and top 6 clubs, you're expected to win or challenge for a trophy. Yes or no?
Well, no.
It
wasn't. You could say that. You could say yes or no to that question, but I don't think so. No.
I want to put that question to Alan. Do you think that you should be expected to win trophies as a club?
As a club where we're at now, yeah, we should be challenging. Probably not for the league, Europa League, probably not. But in the domestic Carabao Cup and FA Cup, yeah, we should be expected to challenge, especially with the team we've got.
Yeah,
the foundation set.
And the funny thing is that if you look at Leicester's example, if Leicester keep up what they're doing for another 3 to 4 years, they're going to be expected to challenge for trophies as well. It's just the natural evolution of things. That's why no one expects Arsenal to challenge for anything, because they're slowly coming out of that top 6 powerhouse in the Premier League. And Daniel Levy did what Man United did with the Jose Mourinho signing. We signed Jose Mourinho because Man City got Pep. Daniel Levy signed Jose because, oh God, I've moved to a trophy. I've moved to a new stadium.
That was a mistake, mate.
I know.
That was a mistake.
We're all saying
it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a mistake.
We all acknowledged it was a mistake. The mistake was getting Jose Mourinho in the first place.
You need to just accept it. You just need to accept it,
Alex, calm down a second. Go on, Alan.
So, Alex, I know I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but you got to understand the fact is Poch took us to heights we've never seen before in the league, and he couldn't get over the line. So what Levy's done, because he likes Mourinho, he wanted Mourinho before, he's gone, I see an opening here where we've got the same team, we've got the same players. a manager like Mourinho will get us over the line and win us trophies. It's not the correct thing to do, in my opinion, because obviously it disrupts things. But there's obviously people like KJ that say that it is because Tottenham need to win a trophy. So I can understand both sides. But to say it,
oh no, I don't even think it is the correct thing. I just said it makes sense. You know what I mean? Makes sense.
To win a trophy.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing made logically. I got the thought process of bringing Jose in, but I thought in practicality, it was two things that stood out to me when it happened, and I said it on streams. The squad, the system, the way they're built isn't to play football the Jose way. So it could take 18 months, 2 years to readapt this team. And again, same energy I have for my club. When you switch from one manager, one style, one behavior, one ethos to another, it just doesn't always click in straight away. The second element is Jose Mourinho is well past his best. You know what I mean? Jose Mourinho now reminds me of when David Hay returned to boxing. And I love Tony Bellew, by the way, but there was no way, in my opinion, he was beating a peak David Hay of like 8 or 9 years earlier. And that's what Jose is now. He's absolutely past his best. He's getting beat by people that were nowhere near his standard when he was at his best. And it's become embarrassing. There's no doubt. Abs, listen, mate, I appreciate you coming on, having your say. Thank you very much, mate. We're going to get a few more callers on and have their say. First up, Ads. Another Ads is now on the show from GNA TV. Ads, what you saying, bro?
Not Brad. What you man saying? You good?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I just want to talk about Spurs and like what they should be doing. I agree with Alan and KJ. I think that you guys should obviously be going for trophies when you're a top 6 side and you get gassed up that much by obviously the media and by your own fans. And if you actually think about it, I know obviously being a Spurs fan, because I'm friends with a few, they will say that all the other rivals will just treat them like they're not a top 6 side, which for me they are because they've earned it. And because of how much the club actually costs. But for me, I think it's fair to say that you guys, like, it's fair for people to not expect you guys to win a trophy, because how many times have you actually had a clear opportunity to actually win one? Alex, I'd like you to answer that question, bro.
Well, we could have won a trophy, yes. If you want me to say the question, yes. But when Pochettino was in charge, I don't want to go here because it's the past, but his remit was getting top 4. You see, it's not the case that he didn't want to win the trophy, but you know he believed in that squad. So I mean, I just think unfortunately it just didn't work out in that sense for him. So I mean, at the moment, I think it's true. Yes, we should have won trophies. Yes,
Alex, what do you want? What do you want? Because all I ever hear you do is downplay Spurs winning the trophy, downplay Spurs being good, and putting yourself in this place where if I take the pressure off Spurs, people will stop getting onto us, and I can enjoy us being Spursy. So, what do you want Spurs to win a trophy? Do you want Spurs to have success? Because it sounds like you're happy and content with just being. We get top 4 sometimes, and we play good football. That's what it sounds like. So I'm asking you, what do you want?
Firstly, that is completely wrong what you just said there, by the way, KJ. I wasn't saying, that's not what I was saying at all. Secondly, to your point, yes, I do want Tottenham to win trophies, and I'd love to see Tottenham win the Premier League in my lifetime. That would be great.
Okay, cool, isn't it? So I'm just making sure, because there's just times where I question that.
Yeah,
you're wrong there.
No, Alex, I have a lot of time and a lot of respect for you. What I see more of Alex is you give just reiterate what Alistair Gold says or other journalists that you like, as opposed to telling us what you remember. As fans, we don't have to. We can give opinions on things that not that are unrealistic as such, but it's what you. This is what I want as a fan, as a supporter. That's our remit. Like, it doesn't have to be like. Some people say, I want Jose sacked. Yeah, but Alistair Gold said that it will cost £20 million is unlikely to happen, so there's no point wanting it. I get your point around it may not happen, but it doesn't mean a fan can't not want it. You know, this is just the way life is. You know what I mean? I want to win the Euro Millions, but it probably ain't going to happen. Ads, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Take care, bro.
Appreciate it, bro. Take care. Next up on the show, little treat for us here on Easter Monday. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Hit that share button as well. It's really important. Let's get this past 200 likes while we're live on the air. We've got man he says his name's Steve James, but we know his name is safe. My stalker, back in the house again, looking like a young John Travolta this morning. What you saying, bro?
Hey guys, thank you for having me on. Terry, I just want to say to you, congratulations on your achievement. I'm really happy for you.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot.
And
Thank you.
second of all, I don't think Jose should be sacked now. It's wrong for him to be sacked. I think he should be sacked in the summer because because if Tottenham got a new manager now, and Tottenham went through a bad patch next season and they started to lose games, mentality, the players will start to drop. So they're going to start to think of the negative, what Jose have said for the past 18 months. What do you think about this? Do you think he should be sacked in the summer?
Alan, I'll give that to you.
I think we've all said that he should be sacked in the summer. I don't think he should go now because there's just no point, especially with a cup final coming up. Will we win it? I don't believe so. But I don't think anyone said we should. Well, I'd like him to go now, but it makes sense to keep him until the summer. But it doesn't matter when you bring a new manager in. You try and get what the previous manager said and done out of the way, and you bring your own philosophies, your own ideas. So I don't think if we were to change now, I don't think the next manager would come in and allow things to linger from months before. I don't think that happens. The manager stomps that out and goes, "This is what we're going to do," and moves forward. So I don't think that would affect it. But we will. It will probably be the summer if we get rid of him. I hope we get rid of him.
I just want to add that I agree where you're coming from, but it's just a player's mentality. It's just because I've been through this issue previously with work, where somebody is so negative and to me, and I lose my job, and I go for my new position as a contractor, and the new person says that my work is great. It's really difficult to adapt from negative and changing to positive aspect.
I agree, sir. I think if you go from a negative environment to a positive environment, it'll only give you almost an instant boost. Listen, Say, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. And I'm loving the lockdown hair, bruv. I'm loving the lockdown hair. Take care, mate. All the best. Next up, Fixer is on the show. Fixer, welcome back to the terrace, mate. What you saying?
Yeah, hello, Terry. Terry, sorry, I actually forgot to congratulate you. Sorry, the last time we spoke, I should have said, but yeah, congratulations on your.
Thank you. There is no necessity when you come on the terrace to congratulate me, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know. But you've done well, man. I remember when you started, man. You've come a long way, my brother. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is, Jose Mourinho. I think Tottenham should just get rid of this guy, man. To be honest, because I mean, he just follows the same pattern, isn't it? He comes to the club. You guys have a boost. You guys do well at the beginning, and then it goes downhill from there very quickly. And I think if Tottenham wants to the season is almost over, so I understand saying leave it to the summer, but I think if you want to make a statement to show that, listen, Jose, you're not the guy anymore, you're not the boss anymore, you're just another dude who doesn't know what he's doing. I think they should get rid of him now, and that will also be an example to the next manager, so that when he comes in, he doesn't take it for granted, the position. And that's what I think, basically.
I wonder, yeah, and I've seen it over the years now, with Wenger, and now with Jose. People just need to let it go. Yes, yes, Jose was one of the greatest managers of his generation, and will be one of the greatest managers, and still is one of the greatest managers of all time. But every dog has its day. Not everything can last forever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these people always defending Jose, fighting for his corner. But this was one that, bruv, that Inter treble was 10, 11 years ago. Let it go. Like, let these men retire and go out in peace. You guys expecting them to win trophies left, right, center still when they've passed their best is unfair. Let it go. Let Jose go back to Portugal.
And also, KJ, I think nowadays
you can be. Sorry, Fixer. You can be one of the greatest managers to have managed in the game and be finished. That is possible, people. It is possible.
Well, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
It is. It's inevitable.
I think nowadays is the era of the young managers. I think all this old. I mean, okay, we have Ancelotti who is still hanging about, and even he's declining. I mean, Ancelotti has gone from winning Champions League to struggling to make top 6 or whatever. So I think this is the era for the young man, the Nagelsmann, the Solskjaers.
When you say that, think about it logically. Take Fergie out of the mix. How many managers get into their late 50s, 60s, 70s, and are still managing at the highest elite end level and winning the big trophies. There will definitely be some that are doing it. But Ancelotti, you look at him in the last, like since he left Real Madrid, it's not like he's been at the biggest clubs, if that made sense, in Europe. You know, it doesn't normally happen. Wenger petered out. Jose is now petering out. And I think it's nearly always been a kind of young to middle-aged game being a manager, because I think it's the intensity of it. It's about not being jaded. It's how it is. Yes, Alex.
I just want to say that, you know, KJ, it's all right you saying this here, but you need to talk to some of the Tottenham fans, because they defend him like it's the best thing. He's the best thing since sliced bread. So that's the first thing. Just to say what you said to that point about, oh, let it go. We'll tell that to some Tottenham fans. But yeah, I'm just going to just admit it right now, just so Terry can hear this. Yes, I want him out, and I want him out. I want him out at the end of the season. I can't stand him. I cannot stand the bloke. You know what I mean? Honestly, he's literally lost. I've lost my soul with this guy. Really, honestly.
Welcome to the club, mate.
You know, with the heart and soul. You know what I mean? Even when I had Martial in charge, it was the best thing. You know, he was the best. You know what I mean? At least he had something there. But at the moment, I mean, I see players like Winks. They all say they have a go at Winks all the time. I've just watched him, and I saw him passing it for when he started. Now he doesn't do it anymore. That's confidence. Davis is a good player. Davis is always defender, really good defender on the left, and just other players as well. Lo Celso, he's a good playmaker. You can't tell me he's not a good playmaker, right? You know, and Ali, I mean, it's just about confidence and just someone putting an arm around him. You know, so I'm sorry, but this is just ridiculous now. You know what I mean? I just, you know, if I had my wish, I'll get rid of him. Honestly, I would get rid of him. But you know, what can I say? I'm only going to be disappointed if he doesn't go next season, isn't it?
I hear you. Alex, it's only taken 47 minutes, but we've got you to say it. Like I wait. What I mean by that is it's been on the tip of your tongue like for weeks. Like you can't stand it. You've just held back, and you know, it feels like a good therapy session today. I'm really proud we got there. Fixer, thank you very much for coming on the show, mate. Really appreciate it, bro. Next up, Spurs fan AJ's on the channel. What you saying, young man?
Morning, Terry. First of all, congrats on the new sponsor. I haven't been able to say it yet.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah. Thank you. Listen, the situation now, it's a mess that can't be clean. Like, just for all parties, Mourinho, he'll have to go in the summer. Right now, it's not going to make a difference. We might get that new manager bounce, whatever, but it's not. No, it's just a mess. It can't be solved this season, in my opinion.
Do you think Jose's got the ability to turn this around at all? Or it's just irreversible now?
If he has a chance, Daniel Levy's going to need to help him like a lot, because Daniel Levy, he did similar with Pochettino. Do you remember the season we got to the Champions League final? We went the window or a year without signing a player. Yeah. What Daniel Levy should have done there is, when the cycle was still in flow, flipping the Lo Celso and Ndombele type signings, I get them two players in particular weren't available. But what Daniel Levy should have done is, instead of going the season not signing anyone, he should have found players on that caliber that could have like gone on the bench or something. And I remember that before the season started, Jack Grealish, he was meant to be a Tottenham player for like 20 mil. All Daniel Levy did was Dele Alli and not get him. Wilfred Zaha, before Crystal Palace were asking for like 80, 90 million for him because they wanted to keep him bad. All Daniel Levy had to do was 25, 30 million. He would have been ours. And Moussa Dembele, I know the guy couldn't play 45 minutes of football anymore, but we got to the Champions League final. He could have done a job in like the last half an hour. You never know what could have happened. So say we had them three players for, i.e. the final, it may have been different. We might have broken the trophy drought, but I'm just talking hypotheticals.
Well, that's what fans are here to do. We're here to speak hypotheticals. There's no doubt. Alex, you were shaking your head there, or
well, I do respect it, AJ, but Moussa Dembele, this is a myth. I mean, that was a bet. Actually, to be honest with you, Moussa Dembele, when he got sold, that was the best thing that Tottenham did. Actually, to be honest with you, because I've actually read an article him in where he's at the moment, China, and he's really fallen really badly right now.
I understand that, Alex, but it's not what's it, ridiculous to say he could have done a job for 20, 30 minutes.
I don't think so, mate.
I think
his knees are gone. His knees are gone. Unfortunately, and it's a shame to say that, because, like I said, this is the thing. What Pochettino did with some of these players was really good in terms of how he developed them, evolved them, and he was one of them, because I've watched videos of when he was playing, and he was the major reason why we're playing really well in our midfield, and we haven't replaced that. Let's be honest here.
Do you know what's interesting? A few of the comments here are saying that AJ's talking about the past. But yes, you talk about the past to draw to the future. The point is that summer that he mentioned, where we had no money, Spurs had no money to buy people, there was opportunities to bring in Wilfried Zaha's and Jack Grealish's for small amounts of money. And we now know what they've turned into as players. You don't just need to sign 80, 90 million pound players. Like I spoke about this many times with my club, Man United. Oh, we need a Koulibaly. Why don't we find the next Koulibaly who we can bring in for 20 million pound now and develop over the next 2 or 3 years? And and they set the world alight. Spurs have had the money to do that. They just didn't get the job. They just didn't get the deals done. And you think about how much money Jack Grealish is worth. Now, he should have been a Spurs player. Zaha could have been a Spurs player. And that's all that's being said. So AJ's point was, and sorry to put words into your mouth if I get this wrong, it may be rectifiable, but Levy's got to step up and deliver in the market and give Jose the kind of players that he needs. But we all know that Levy isn't going to do that. So it becomes a poison chalice. And it's just going around in that same circle again. And it doesn't look like there's much to go forward with. Thank you very much to Wolves Best for signing up. Watch this space when it comes to content outside the traditional top six. Smash that like button, please, ladies and gentlemen. Really important to the football test that you get that done. AJ, top man, thank you very much for coming on and having you. Yep.
Before we go on, I don't think this is rectifiable. Proof of the fact is the situation we're in. What he's doing and out in the players, you're going to have the players that are performing week in, week out, doing everything they can, like your Harry Kane. Son hasn't performed recently, but obviously his figures are up there. You've got Dele that's having a good season, who's progressing. You're going to have them players that are having spoken about in the same way as players that aren't performing, who aren't showing enthusiasm on that, and they're going to think, well, he's obviously putting me down just as much as them when I'm doing better. So for me, it's causing dissension in the ranks, and that's the major problem that he can't fix because of the way he's talking in the press.
What manager do you want? What manager do you want as a replacement?
I've said before, I would take no way. I'll take Nagelsmann. I would take Brendan Rodgers. I did originally say Hasenhüttl, but I'm not entirely sure on him because he's a good attacking young manager, but I think our problem at the moment is at the back, we're wide open defensively. So I think we need a manager that's a bit more astute to be able to come into, steady the ship. But for me, it's got to be anyone other than Mourinho at this point. It's not working.
If we're in the same position as next season with a new manager, would you say that you'd be happy to? Would you be happy with that? Would you be happy?
So that's
if the players are much more happy, would you be still happy with the manager?
So that's a hypothetical. So I'll answer the hypothetical question: is if we were in the same position and we saw like promise or potential or a way to move forward, I would still give time. Like I said previously on here, if he chose to have Mourinho next season as the manager, I would back Mourinho until I can't back him anymore. Like similar stuff that's happening here, because what's going on behind the scenes and the problems with the players and the dressing room not being together, that's the problem. So if we had to get a new manager in and it weren't working and it was as bad as this or worse, then I would want a new manager in, because you have to find the right fit. You can't keep having managers for seasons upon seasons that aren't doing anything.
That's what I agree
try
with.
And find the right fit.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. What you said as well. To be honest with you, I agree. With
Lampard.
No.
But I think it's this. When I do a lot of listening to Spurs fans. Of course, the Spurs audience on the terrace has grown massively this season, which is brilliant. And you learn, and there's a lot of people that sort of sit there, and I sometimes listen to Eleanor and hear this along the, because she's not happy with the ownership as well. That we're never going to spend to really be able to consistently compete at the top. So if that's the case, I've said it a bit with Manchester United. I'm never going to accept us not wanting to win trophies. So, as personally, so I don't care whether the football's great and we're finishing second, or it's average and we're finishing second. I'm never going to be happy unless we're actually unless we're legitimately challenging and winning major trophies. But for some people that are accepting and kind of, I don't expect to win it, I understand why they just want, at the very least, if you brought in a Ralph Hassenhurst, at least the football would be better. And at least then you get a bit of entertainment out of it. It really, I know, and everyone's going to have a different sort of standard in terms of what they want from their football club. And all clubs have that as well. There's a lot of Man United fans I speak to now who they just want Ole gone because they don't think we're going to ever challenge for a title under the Glazers again. So they just want some pretty football to watch. Again, that isn't the standards I have, but I respect that that's how they look at the game and that's what they want from things. And that's a difficult question with Tottenham. It's can you, I think you can create another squad again that could compete, but you're never going to have a model like Chelsea's and never going to have a model like Man City's because of the finances where you can try and keep yourself up near that top of the tree on a consistent basis. I don't even think Liverpool have that. Liverpool, I think, is going to be...
You know what it is? It's actually a shame for Spurs fans because their window of opportunity is now gone. That period under Poch, where he had probably the second best team in the country for 3 years, couldn't win anything there, and then now it's the end of that. It's the remnants of that, and Levy gambled on getting a trophy with the remnants of that squad. It hasn't worked, and after Jose, you guys are back to square one. And in this market right now, the way of football is right now, in terms of the pandemic and stuff, you can't see Spurs recreating the same thing again for another five years plus. And it's peak. Yeah, it's peak because when you guys lose Harry Kane, I think you need to lose him for the greater good of the club. But when you guys lose Harry Kane, when you guys lose Son, it's over. Like, it legit is.
Especially Harry Kane, bro.
The hopes of becoming,
especially Harry Kane.
Sorry, I'll finish now. The hopes of becoming this top team that secures top 3, sometimes top 2 maybe, and winning cups, that will be gone, and you guys are back to normality of being Spurs. So actually, deep down, I actually do feel Spurs fans because they had a chance to elevate themselves, and Levy and the Mandem there have just messed it up.
I hear you, and I think that the hardest thing is Son's slightly easier to replace than Kane, but Harry Kane is, like a lot of people, modern day fans talk about system players and blah blah blah. Harry Kane is scoring goals and now creating goals at a rate which only a handful of people in the world have ever done consistently in the Premier League. So he's almost irreplaceable, because how many players have there been like Harry Kane in the Premier League era? 2 or 3 strikers of that level where it's just consistent goal scoring. It's almost impossible to replace him. In fact, it may take the Premier League 5 years, 10 years to get another player. Well, Haaland might come in and start doing it as an example, but there's very few of them that come in and score at that rate. And how likely is it the Spurs are going to get one that comes through their academy that's free? To buy a Harry Kane is £150 million, and it's over. And it just is. And the more I sit here and I never really thought about it until now. So I'm kind of thinking out loud. It's cast iron fact. Spurs will never have another Harry Kane unless they develop him from scratch. And how likely is that? Because how many players in the Prem have developed a player of Harry Kane's level in the history of the Premier League? There's very few on a percentage scale. So it was now or never, and that seemingly looks like it's massively past. It's that's a sobering thought, don't you think, Alan?
It's just one of them things, because Harry, it's not just the goals and assists, it's his all-round play this season. He drops so deep to help spread the play. He gets back and defends. He is, I believe, I don't want him to go. I believe for his career, to win something, because I don't think he can do it with us. Unfortunately, we'd have to let him go for him to do that. I don't think he'll force a move, though. I think he's got too much respect for the club. So depending on what Daniel Levy slaps on his head, but there's no one around that would be able to replace him in the Premier League at this moment in time. Well, name-wise, Lewandowski, but for everything that he does, but we would never be able to afford him. I don't know. It would be a gaping hole in our team that I don't think we could fill for some time. And it's it's.
I said that he's definitely going to go. I said he's definitely going to go because he's not going to be having it. Staying for a Carabao Cup. You know, I mean, it'd just be just a parting gift to us, basically. But I mean, from what I'm hearing, and I don't like saying this, but they might know more than me. Daniel Levy's not selling to an English club, so
stop.
He will end up just sending it to a foreign club. But I don't think that's going to happen.
This is where, again, like, people stand. So when I hear you say that, I feel like you're standing by Levy's decision.
No, I'm not standing by Levy's decision, Dave.
Yeah, but it sounds like you are. It's like, oh no, he won't.
No, I won't. I'm not standing by Levy's decision.
Okay, but even if he won't, Tottenham fans got to wake up and smell the coffee. You're highly unlikely to win trophies, even with Kane at the club, with the situation that you're in. So Harry Kane's going to want to leave. If you don't cash in on him now, you can't use. What you need to do is probably cash in on him and then reinvest that money into your squad to make your squad better. Because a lot of you have also claimed that you don't really think the club's going to dig deep into its own pockets. So if no foreign club comes in for Harry Kane and wants to pay the money, your only choice is to sell him to another English club. Refusing to do it means you won't get the money, which means you won't be able to reinvest into your team. So it's called cutting your nose off to spite your face. There comes a point where if Harry Kane wants out, you need money to refresh your squad. Daniel Levy's got to just, if it is him that's pushing it, has got to let go of this stupid notion that I won't give Harry Kane to another English club, because the progression of Tottenham has to take precedent over his personal desires not to strengthen a rival. Because if you don't do it, these clubs won't be your rivals, because you'll fall so far behind them, it becomes nonsensical. So I'm not going to go at you, Alex, but it's a stupid train of thought. When you were challenging for the titles or up near the top, looking like you're going to maybe win Champions Leagues, of course you don't just suddenly get rid of Harry Kane and give him to Liverpool. But when you've fallen from that grace, when you need money to rebuild, you have to readjust. And listen, I think for the right money, I think they'd even sell him to
Kane needs to. I'm sorry. In the summer, Kane needs to do up strike. Kane needs to do up disrespect. He needs to do up disrespect. This Levy brother is not serious and he's a fool. So Harry Kane needs to do up refusing to play, coming out in public saying he wants to leave, doing up all the things that everyone hates footballers doing, because apparently they're not allowed to voice their disgruntlement. Do everything, bruv. Do it all, because this Levy brother ain't gonna he's a liar, bruv. He'll be like, oh yeah, Harry, I'll let you leave, and then whack 200 million on top during COVID. You know what I'm saying? So do everything he needs to do to get out, fam, because there's no point. Yeah, transfer request is not enough. Out there publicly say you need to leave, say badmouth the club. Do what you need to do to get out of there, fam. That's all I'm saying. That's what he needs to do, man.
I don't think he'll do that. I don't think he will do that.
I totally agree with you, though, Terry. I totally agree with you. You know that I agree with you, because I've said already Kane's going to leave. But this is what I'm hearing, which I'm amazed about. I'm even amazed about Son, because I'm sitting there saying, they're saying that Son, why is he not signing that contract yet? I mean, it's quite obvious that he's going to be looking to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona. It's easy. And they can make the money back just by shirt sales, because he's so famous in South Korea. So this is what I'm hearing. So I'm not disagreeing with you, mate, but this is what I'm hearing, which I'm amazed.
Alan,
because I'm telling you right now, he should go to somewhere. He should go somewhere else, because his talent deserves to go somewhere else and get trophies.
Let me ask you this question, though. But let's just say Real Madrid and Barcelona don't have the money to sign him, or they don't want to sign him, whatever the reason is. If Man United came in with £100 million bid this summer, would you endorse that move?
Yeah, yes, that's what I'll say. Yes, because the thing is, though, who's going forward? Who's going forward here? Tottenham or Manchester United? I mean, Manchester City, it's an easy one, homegrown. You just need to say homegrown. Kane, homegrown, easy, boom. 200 million. Homegrown player sold straight away. Top 200 million.
You're getting 200 million.
Easy.
Won't be
You know what I mean? It's easy. It's like, you know what I mean?
You're not gonna. This is the thing as well. You're not gonna get the 200 mil, because Kane wants to leave, and it's becoming apparent that you need to sell to raise money to refurbish. That damage, even with Levy's negotiating capabilities. That makes it hard. But yeah, you've got to let him go. At the end of the day, he needs out. I want to ask about another player. And we are still taking calls if anybody wants to phone in and have their say. The link has been shared in the comment section. Let's get this stream past 250 likes while we're live. Just under 1,000 people watching as well. So please subscribe, hit the bell notification button, and share this stream on all your social media platforms to get more people involved. Not Harry Kane, Dele Alli. Alan, do you think this lad, a couple of years ago, I want to say youngest player midfielder to reach 50 goals in the Premier League, or at least he did it quicker than like Lampard and whatnot. I'm not too sure of the actual statistic as it was. He looked like he was going to go on and be this high goal scoring midfielder. Is it Dele Alli that's past it, or do you think it's just like he needs to get out and move on? And if so, are you fearful that if he leaves and joins another club, you could see a resurgence and Dele Alli get back to his best, and it might sort of feel like a bit of egg on the face of Tottenham?
I don't think he's done at all. I think the way Mourinho plays now, Dele Alli isn't fit for that system. He is at his best, and he comes to life when he's running off of Kane in the box, and those type of runs, for headers and in the box area. When Mourinho's got him playing, he's got him in the middle of the pitch, distributing play around, but he's not that type of player going box to box. I believe it's also a bit of his attitude behind the scenes as well. But I believe if you were to get a right manager in, getting Ali to play at his strengths and in the right way, I think he could go back to what he was before. But it's just the formation we're playing at the moment where he can't be in that thing. But you need a player like Dele Alli or a young player to be able to adapt as well, to progress, because all the best players in the world adapt, to different roles and to elevate their game. And he either doesn't want to do that or he can't do that, which is stopping him becoming like one of the elite youngsters in the country.
Yeah.
Go on, Cage. Go on, bruv.
Dele Alli, man needs to leave. He needs to do a Jesse Lingard and go to a club where he can be loved, where he can be have a new environment, and he can be the main man. Dele Alli's issue is that he's fallen to the wayside. He's no longer the go-to guy, the guy you guys believe in, the guy you guys look to be the best. And over time, he's gotten comfortable. And he needs to get out of that comfortable place of Spurs and go somewhere where he has to now deliver, where he is legit the main guy. He can hide behind Harry Kane. He can hide behind Son. At times he was hiding behind Lucas Moura. That's how peak it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy, yes, is extremely talented, but there are questions about what he wants to do as a footballer. So he needs to go to an environment where he's allowed to be him. And I feel like an Everton, like West Ham, those kind of clubs will be perfect for him. If Aston Villa use Jack Grealish, it sounds wild, but go sign Dele Alli.
I don't agree on that, but just because they're two different type of players. Jack Grealish is an absolute baller. Dele Alli, I think, needs to be provided for. Jack Grealish can create things.
What I'm saying is, in terms of Aston Villa relying on a talisman, you're not going to get another Jack Grealish anytime, anywhere soon. So get a different kind of talisman and adapt your play to that. You know what I'm saying?
You got to remember with Dele Alli, this lad scored 10 goals in his first season at Tottenham, 22 and then 14. And then since then has sort of fallen off the edge of a cliff. But that also coincides with when it started to go a little bit wrong on the Poch, and then with the Jose sort of, then Jose coming in. He's never really refound his feet, but he's still only 24 years of age. He's got a lot of miles left on the clock. I think a change is as good as a rest. And what was interesting was his first 2 or 3 performances under Jose Mourinho. When he first came in, there looked to be that little spike, and you saw, Dele Alli looking like he could be the Dele Alli that we all, well, barring Chelsea and Arsenal fans, loved and thought was this star in the making. I just get this, and this is what my issue is with Spurs fans. I think there's so much, especially the ones that kind of back the manager. I think the squad's full of a lot more talent than some Spurs fans like to give it credit for. And you could see a number of these players leave and they do well elsewhere. And there's going to be that element of, have we sort of, again, cut our nose off to spite our face as a football club because we haven't had the right manager. I think if you bring in a Nagelsmann, I think someone like Dele Alli Ndombele, Lo Celso. I mean, imagine that as a midfield three, like in a sort of 4-3-3 or double pivot with Dele Alli just in front. That as a midfield three is potent. Like, it really is potent. You've got Højbjerg that could be added to that if you need more defensive cover. It's really not bad football players there. This defensively, you do need action. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. But you look in midfield, you look up front. I look at it now. City wouldn't. City would. Some of Spurs' attackers would get into City's team. Harry Kane. I think Son could push for a place in that team as an example. But your plethora of attackers, most Premier League teams are jealous of. In the cold light of day, for your backup players to be Bergwijn, Moura, and Bergwijn, Moura, and Lamela, that's pretty good. The champions of England, currently Liverpool, have Divock Origi and Shaqiri, bruv. Like, that's their backup. Like, Jimmy, it's not bad. It isn't.
Bergwijn's a good player.
I know he's a good player. I know he's a good player. He's just got a manager that doesn't.
He's just got no confidence. Everybody says he's useless, but to me, he should be in the team more than Bell. I'm sorry, Bell is not the future. Bell is not the future, right? The joke is that everyone's going on so much about Bell when he made that comment at Worlds, yeah. And me and my dad was sitting there thinking, okay, is Bell the future right now? No, he's not the future. He's a novelty. He's a novelty because he's a nostalgia sort of signing, because he's someone from the past, right? We're looking to the future. You see what I'm saying? We should be making signings like that. And to be honest, you can't really blame Mourinho for it. It's Daniel Levy who made the signing. So it was a stupid signing in the first place. You know, the player that we should have got, who's playing really well at Inter Milan at the moment, that we could have got for cheap, 45 million, Skriniar. That was the sign that we missed out on, but that's the story, Tottenham, isn't it? Fernandes, Grealish. You see what I'm saying? It's like a sorry story. It's like watching Ty going on a date on TV. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, honestly, I love Ty, by the way. I'm not Ty, but, I love Ty, by the way. But, I watch that.
Alex,
we laugh, today. You know what I mean?
Alex, I need to disagree with you on the Bergwijn thing, purely for the fact is that the start of the season, it was Bergwijn that was starting all the time because he was helping get back and do a defensive. He was playing the Mourinho way. And in big chances, in big games, he didn't take and he weren't scoring. And that's why he got dropped. So it was his own ability on the pitch that wasn't quite, he weren't getting the goals. 2 Liverpool chances, he didn't take them, hit the post and was shot just wide when he probably should have buried at least one. And it was a continual thing. I don't think he scored this season for us. So he was playing the majority of the first part. So I'm just saying, wait 1 sec. So if he's not performing, Mourinho drops him, but he was in the team way before Moura was this season. So it was his own ability that let him down. That's why Mourinho dropped him. You can't keep.
No, but Bergwijn was doing much more. Actually, to be honest with you, he was actually defending, doing the job that Jose wanted.
Yes, so, and I agree with that.
To be honest with you, I did think that you said. I think you're right in that sense when I was saying, because I was saying I wanted somebody else there for me. But to be honest, when I heard the analysis on him, I started to realise, he actually is doing more for the team and he's actually working for Son and Kane. To be honest with you, I just think he needs more confidence, and that's it. I think he came in and he started so well. He started like a rock on fire, but since then he's just gone down and down and down and down and down. And unfortunately, with a manager like Jose Mourinho, he doesn't give that confidence in the team. He doesn't put an arm around him. You see what I'm saying? He's got that ability. He's so direct. When he's got the ball, you see he's just going straight down. You can see that he just wants to just go in the box and shoot and score. And he hasn't had that confidence yet. And I just think he's just frustrated. And I just think he's someone that just wants to come out and just play and not with any worries at all. And I think he's just been shut down by Jose. Or something's not right at all. Something's not right, and I think Jose
is not renowned for developing players. So when you bring in Bergwijn, when you sign Jedson Fernandes, is even like Harry Winks. Like it's only 18 months ago, you Spurs mob were talking about Winks as being England's future and this and that. A lot of people.
Terry, I was hearing Winnie Esther, fam. I was
But I think he's a good player. I don't think he's any set pieces. Maybe I don't think he's any worse a technician than Ward-Prowse. Now I'm not saying that means he's a world beater, but it's about the system that you play. If you give Ward-Prowse to Jose, same thing's going to happen. Look what happened with Højbjerg. Højbjerg's come in, started well, and he's regressing because there's no development here. There's a comment here that says Moura and Bergwijn are okay players, same level as Rashford and Pepe.
You put in Rashford and Pepe in the same sentence.
Oh, right. Bergwijn,
Wow.
so Rashford has scored 19 goals this year, right? That's more than Lucas Moura, Pepe, and Bergwijn put together. Don't put Rashford on them same levels, bro. Rashford is
United. Just off topic a little. There are reports now coming out about dressing room unrest between Solskjaer and De Gea, relationships starting to break down. Solskjaer has been wanting to pick Dean Henderson for a while. I think is this the start of De Gea leaving?
Yeah, he's gone. I mean, but this is the only reason those stories are coming out today. There's a few things we're touching on tonight's nighttime show, and that's going to be one of them. These stories started after social media kicked off at Ollie for like the treatment of David De Gea. There was no talk of it before, but it's a very simplistic and easy story for a media outlet to run with because Man United Ollie outers are unhappy with the treatment of De Gea for whatever reason, so they start doing stories that there's a feud, that there's a problem, that there is an issue, and again we'll see what happens. But again, there might be, and there normally is when two players fall out. But there's people act like it's not. It's Pep Guardiola is the best manager in the world right now. He's fallen out with loads of players. It's very, very normal. But it's about does the dressing room become toxic? But on David De Gea, 110%, in my opinion, will leave this summer. And I think one of the biggest reasons for Man United wanting to move him on is that new deal was stupid. That 350 grand a week is far too much money for a goalkeeper who's past his best. He's won things at the club. I love David De Gea. But we need to move on to pastures new, and it's the right thing to do.
And the reports are coming from the MEN as well, who do have links and mouse people at the club. So that's why, if it was like the Sun or something, I would ignore it. But MEN, I'm like, okay, there might be something there.
And I get why there would be. Listen, but everyone who's tuned in today, thank you very, very much. All of our callers, Alan, Alex, of course, Elite KJ, thank you all very much for tuning into The Terrace. Smash that like and that share button. Big Champions League preview show at 5 p.m. today. We've got Jan on representing Man City. We've got some Liverpool supporters on as well. We're going to be previewing both the games that come tomorrow, Liverpool and Man City's Champions League ties. There's so much to unpack. Big Haaland news coming later on as well. Some interesting information that's coming out about the club that's going to sign them. I can't wait to share that as well. Some real big stuff in relation to that. Hit that like and share button, people. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Big shout out to our new partners, Snack